Viajeros, welcome to Mochilazo. My name is Luis.
And I'm Gabby.
And we are at Maker's Mark Distillery in Loretto, Kentucky.
We're getting ready to take what's called the Maker's Mark tour. It's about an hour and 25-minute tour. We're going to learn about the bourbon making process and their facilities here, and then we're going to get to try some bourbon.
The distillery is maybe an hour and 15, an hour and 20 minutes from Lexington. There is a country road, so take your time to arrive here on time, obviously. But be careful when you are driving down. And Maker's Mark is pretty famous because it's a pretty old distillery, and I think it's the most prettiest distillery that we visited before. And the bourbon is great. It's a weird bourbon, same as Weller. Well, it's not the same flavor, right? But it's kind of the same recipe, but we will discover it here. They have a lot of art. You like kind of this glass art. So the distillery is pretty with all of that.
It's really beautiful.
So let's go to take the tour.
Your tour guide today. My name is Sam, so if you have any questions, feel free to let me know at any point. Now, Bill was a fourth generation commercial distiller whose family roots tie back to the T.W. Samuels Distillery prior to Prohibition. Now, Bill was not the biggest fan of his family's whiskey. In fact, in his words, he said that it was very bitter and just bad. Nothing that you really wanted to drink. So in a very dramatic fashion, he invited his entire family over to his house, took a lighter to the only written copy of the family recipe, burning down his drapes and part of his house as well. The front of the palate. Something a little bit sweeter and definitely a lot smoother. But he needed to start out with a distillery. After Prohibition, it wasn't very hard to find an abandoned distillery around the state of Kentucky. His wife Margie had a great idea of taking those grains that you would use to make bourbon and baking bread out of them instead. That way they were able to sample it, they were able to see what the flavor profile would come out as without waiting the 5 to 6 years. Recipe that was 70% yellow corn, 16% soft red winter wheat, and 14% malted barley. Now if y'all follow me, we're gonna head on down to the still house, and we're gonna talk about how we get those grains and why they're important to our process.
To believe, hold me, lead me, catch me. Want you to dream, I want you to dream. I want you to dream.
Probably noticed that it is pretty quiet in here right now. We are currently on shutdown, which means that we are not producing any Maker's Mark bourbon. We do this once a year during the hotter months, but we do usually shut down for about a month during the hottest times of the year. That's so we can get some maintenance out of the way, get some cleaning and everything done. The good news is that means that you'll actually be able to hear me in this building. Roller mill, which is over here in the corner to crush up the grains. That roller mill creates a consistency that you can see in my hand. You'll see almost like a flour-like product at the bottom, but on top, you'll see that those husks are still together. They're gonna make their way into this mash tank, which are these two big white containers behind everyone. Those mash tanks hold about 10,000 gallons at any given point, and we're adding the grains in and dropping the temperature for the optimal temperature, adding the wheat, and so on and so forth. After about 3.5 hours, all of that mash, I'll here in just a second, but we do have a total of 62 fermentation tanks in this building.
My buddy Larry Chris.
Everything smells bad.
Smells bad.
Yes, it was.
Kentucky, we call them the Kentucky cooperage. A lot of distilleries do get their barrels from there, so what set our barrels aside from everyone else? Well, the staves, or each of these pieces of wood in the barrel, we're letting ours sit outside and season for about 12 months. What that does is it pulls most of the moisture out of the stave, out of the wood, and it pulls also the natural tannins out as well. Those natural tannins are a defense mechanism that every single plant in the world have, and whenever you introduce them to alcohol and like in an aging process, then you'll notice that you'll start to pick up bitter flavor profiles from the wood. We're trying to avoid that, so we're pulling out as many tannins as possible of open flame. That's going to create a nice charcoal filter, but it's also going to pull as many available wood sugars to the top of the wood, leaving those tannins further back in each stave. 5.5 to 7.5 years. That's about how long the barrels of Maker's Mark age.
I want you to believe. Hold me, lead me, catch me. Want you to dream. I want you to dream. I want you to dream.
Mark 46 cooperage. So talk a little bit about Maker's 46. This was something that Bill Samuels Jr. created. Now this is a toasted virgin French oak stave that to the cooperage is known as stave profile number 46. That's how we got the name Maker's 46. Bill took 10 of these, emptied out the barrel of Maker's Mark bourbon, put the staves down in the barrel, and then let it finish for exactly 9 weeks. He found that tasted like his version of Maker's, or as he called it, Maker's on steroids. It creates a different expression of the traditional Maker's Mark. Rob Samuel Jr. created the Maker's 46 product as his expression of Maker's Mark. Now, whenever we get our bottles of glass in, whenever we get our glass bottles in, they come in the cases that they're going to be shipped out of. So we're going to empty the bottles over on that side. We're going to send the box on this red slide all the way across the other side where they'll get refilled with completed bottles of Maker's Mark. A rinser, we're going to clean out any dust on the inside of the bottle. But with that being said, if you add water to the inside of the bottle and then you add bourbon right after that, have a guess as to what we're going to rinse our bottles out with? Bourbon? Air? Usually people say Jack Daniels at this point. We rinse our bottles out with 90 proof Maker's Mark bourbon. So the only thing that's touching the inside of that bottle is our product. On this station, capped right beside me, we'll get a seal on it at some point, and then finally, it's gonna start making its way down this way to where it'll finally get hand dipped. Have a continuous supply of wax, and the dipping ladies are gonna stand at this table. A little bit and move that bourbon or move your glass from side to side, getting closer to your nose as you go. The notes in kind of different way as well. So if you start from the top and move to the bottom, you can also start picking up different notes on the nose. You're gonna let that rest on your palate. That's what we, and you're gonna switch it around a little bit. It's what we like to call the Kentucky Chew. That second sip will be a little bit smoother. Maker's Mark Cask Strength. So this is what we actually create every single day because this is Maker's Mark as it comes out of the barrel with no extra water added. 112.5 proof, and I say the word cask strength, not casket strength, because this isn't going to put you underground. We're going to start low in proof at 90 proof, we're going to go up at 112, now we're going back down to 94 proof. However, this is our Maker's 46. So this is what we talked a little bit about in the cellar. This was Bill Jr.'s expression on his father's whiskey. We call this our baking compound state. So think maple, caramel, baking spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, gingerbread. Any of those flavor profiles, those are some good buzzwords to pick up on. This is the Maker's Mark 46 again, but this is as it comes out of the barrel at the cask strength. So this one is 110.3 proof, a little bit less than that regular cask, but higher than the regular 46. Select tasting crew put together for our tasting, for the tasting rooms for our tours. This is their expression of Maker's Mark bourbon and the way that they created it. So whenever you're nosing this sample, whenever you're trying this whiskey, I want you to think of some of those buzzwords that I just covered and think what stands out to you. So P2, think almonds, or think lighter notes like the vanillas, the caramels. Cuvée is those almond and black walnut. 46, baking compounds. Monignon, dark chocolate, and spice, cinnamon, nutmeg, gingerbread.
I want you to believe. Hold me, lead me, catch me. Want you to dream.
But it is the same artist. This is our 60th birthday to ourselves here at the distillery. We know it as the Spirit of the Makers, and Dale Chihuly put this out here in 2013. So the colors are representative of everything that goes on here at Maker's Mark. The red is our signature red wax. The blue is for our limestone water. Greens and the yellows are for the grains that we grow around the distillery and use for our bourbon. And the most important thing is in each and every other panel, you'll notice a little baby angel flying above your heads. Those cherubs are representative of the angel share. That's what happens whenever you're aging your bourbon, whenever the product's being released into the atmosphere. We wanted to represent that as the Spirit of the Maker. Tour today, my name is Sam. I was your tour guide. If you have any questions, like I said, come find me.
Thank you, Sam.
I want you to dream.
Hey guys, we just finished with the tour. So Maker's Mark is part of the Suntory Beam, or Beam Suntory group, sorry. So there is a Japanese, capital that they bought Jim Beam years ago. So Maker's Mark is part of that group, as well as Casa Sausa in Mexico. Do you remember that we went to Tequila Town? So here is the video about the Sausa distillery over there. So they are in the same group. So they are a big whiskey makers. We are ambassadors here, so you can become ambassador. So we get our pin for 2022.
You get an annual pin.
You can wax your bottle here as well, so that is pretty cool
I
too.
got to dip my own bottle. That was really nice.
I want you to dream.
First thing, I just want to pull this head out just a little bit for you. So when you start opening, you can. So you're going to put your dominant hand, fingers on the front, thumb on the back. Straight down. Come out and use two hands to hold it flat. Two turns there. Let me hold your person. Thank you. I know most people come up here and I'm like, it's pretty, but I don't know about flat. Yep. Straight down. Up and out. Two quick turns there on the side. There you go. All right, set it down.
They also won a World Guinness Book of Records. They are the oldest production distillery still present in their same location.
The Guinness World.
They also have a bar if you want to stick around and drink a cocktail.
And make your reservations online, so at least 1 or 2 months ahead, because the tours are full here.
Yeah, they are.
So this is Mochilazo. We will move to the next stop today. So it's the Bardstown Distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. So we need to hurry up there, 40 minutes from here. So you like this video, please give us a like and share it with somebody like is interested in the bourbon and try to visit the distilleries here, the Kentucky
They want
Bourbon
more
Trail.
information.
And stamp your passport. And don't forget that.
Viajeros, como siempre, muchas gracias por ver este video. Si no se han suscrito, suscríbanse al canal, den un like si les ha gustado y compartan con los viajeros a quienes pueda servir esta información.